Hi and welcome to our review of the Hyundai Ioniq. Now this is basically Korea's answer to the Toyota Prius. In fact, it was launched early last year in other markets. It comes in two other flavors. You can get it as a full electric vehicle or as a plug-in hybrid. For the time being in our market, we only get it as a hybrid, and prices for it start at just 75,900 dirhams, which is $21,000, and the top spec car is 86,900 dirhams, which is $24,000. This actually is the base spec car. It's quite interesting for us to get the base spec for a change, get to see what actually the sort of car that you might own. Now under the bonnet is a petrol engine. It's a 1.6 litre 4-cylinder engine putting out 105 brake horsepower and running on what they call the Atkinson cycle, which aids the efficiency of the engine. It's the same thing that the Toyota Prius runs on as well, and that then combined with the electric motor, which is a 32 kilowatt or a 43 brake horsepower electric motor, and once you've compensated for the amount of power that you get when you're actually driving it, this thing actually gives you 139 brake horsepower and 195 pounds-foot of torque. That's pretty good in a car this size in a small family hatchback. Gives you a 0 to 100 time of under 10 seconds. Now what they've done with this car is they've focused on efficiency a lot. So for example, the drag coefficient on this is just 0.24, which again is remarkable for a family hatchback. And they've done lots of stuff to reduce the weight. In fact, the bonnet and the tailgate on this are made of aluminium. And overall, it's one of the most economical cars that you can get. The official litres per 100 is just 4.1, which again actually on paper undercuts the Prius just by I think 0.1. And if you think that's pie in the sky, well, yesterday driving around I actually got it down to 4.3 litres per 100, so actually it is very efficient. So how practical is it? Have they been able to package this like an ordinary car despite the fact that it is a hybrid? Well, I'll tell you what, let's start with the boot. So here we go, look, Ioniq Hybrid, check that out. And it's got lots of little blue details. Why is it always blue with hybrids? But anyway, let's open the boot from here. By the way, actually, before I do that, I just want to show you this, because it's got a spoiler here, again, as part of that aerodynamic efficiency, which actually ends up cutting the rear window. Now really, it isn't a big issue from the driver's seat, because you can see through it quite clearly, but it can be a little bit distracting. But we've seen this before, the split window, and it's a quite nice stylistic thing, I think, on this car. So quite a high opening boot, as you can see, and quite a lengthy boot, quite a big size in terms of overall space, but not very deep because it's got quite a high floor there. And you're thinking, is it because it's got batteries under there? No, it's actually got a full-size spare tire. There is a couple of boxes here that you can use, and of course you've got the fire extinguisher and your safety kit. You've also got the batteries in there, and there's another little space over here which I now can't get to, but there you go, just a little tray in there as well. And of course, this is a split folding 60/40, so you can drop the seats, and actually you get quite a bit of room when you drop that because it's almost flat. So you're thinking, where did the battery go then? Well, the batteries actually sit underneath the rear seats, just ahead of the petrol tank. So talking of rear seats, what's the room like back there? Let's go check it out. Right, so let's put the seat back up here. Oh, it stays quite clear of the seat belt, so that's quite good. And here we are. Check it out. Space isn't too bad at all, actually. I'm robbed of headroom a little bit in this car when I sit it back properly, actually, because the roof, again, it's down to the aerodynamics where they've had to slope the roof quite a bit to give it that sort of streamlined shape. So maybe if you're a tall torsoed, as I say, this might be an issue, especially if you've got one of those silly hairstyles. But otherwise, legroom, knee room is plentiful, no issue at all. This seat, of course, is set for my lanky frame, so that bodes well that there's plenty of space for my legs there, and also for my feet. That's not too bad at all. Little bit of wiggle room down there. Shins are fairly clear from the bottom of the seat, so that's not too bad. Enough space sideways. I would reckon 2 adults, 3 children would be fine. There is a central set of seat belts here. It does have Isofix child anchor points as well, child seat anchor points. 2 cup holders in the armrest, and over here you have 2 vents, but that's pretty much all you get back here. So let's get in the front. Right then, so first thing is that this being a base spec, we actually have a traditional key. I believe the higher spec one does have keyless start and entry. Now you have to turn it twice. First to actually get the systems running, and then the second time, hang on, let me close this door so you can see that. Oh, actually didn't make much difference. And now it says EV on there. and now it's come on, the AC's come on. AC in fact is climate control on here. Again, this being a base spec car, actually has climate control, and it's a very good AC. I've not had any reason to complain about that at all. You just set it and forget it, and it's actually very, very cooling. And it's actually got dual mode as well, so you can sync between the modes, or you can leave it as well. And you've also got, look at this feature here, driver only. So again, about that efficiency, you can just switch it to driver only, so it just minimizes the use of the AC. That's a clever touch here. I want to show you this screen here. The actual instrument panel. It's got a normal analog instrument panel in the middle there, but and it's only the bit. Now here's the interesting thing. If you look around this cabin, so unlike the Prius, for example, which makes a lot of its sort of ceramic white interior and the strange gear knob that it has, this one just looks like an ordinary car. There really isn't anything in here to tell you, apart from maybe this blue piping, to tell you that this is a hybrid. It just feels and looks like a normal Hyundai. In fact, it even has a very normal looking gearbox gear selector here with these unfortunately blank buttons here, which obviously on our base spec car we don't know what they are. And this in fact is a 6-speed dual clutch transmission. So it's not a CVT, it's actually a proper dual clutch. And we'll talk a bit more about that on the move. I just want to go through this. Now again, you lots of buttons on the steering wheel. This is your stereo and your phone. And over here you've got your cruise control and your trip computer. So I just want to show you, I can click this button here, and that goes through your engine temperature. That actually goes through tire pressures as well, your service intervals, and all of that stuff. Oh, I see. So you have to drive to get that display. So this is an interesting thing actually. Let me just go back to that again. I just want to show you that quickly. That's the actual engine temperature, and the one on the right is actually the battery temperature. And I've seen that going up a little bit, but I guess that's just how it is. So scrolling through these, that's your settings, and then you've got your trip meter. And I want to just look at the trip meter because that's very interesting. Now, as you can see, at the moment I'm doing an average of 4.7, but I've been pressing on, like I said yesterday, I got 4.3 litres per 100. So pretty close to its claimed 4.1 litres per 100. There's your trip meter. That's what I've done in the car so far. And I've done that and I've still got more than half a tank. So 320 kilometers and I've got well over half a tank still in there. There's your speedometer. This is interesting. It shows you your style, so it actually measures your driving style. It tells you if you're driving economically or normal style, whatever that is, or aggressively. So today I've got it like this, but yesterday I had aggressive on 0. I had normal was like, economical was 94%, so normal was just 6%. And I was beginning to wonder, like, how high could I get it? But 94 was actually the maximum that I achieved. So, and there's your sound system and all the rest of it. So that's quite interesting. So this area on the left really is the only area that tells you, and you can't make it out because it's all washed out. Maybe if I get a bit closer here, there. So that's the only, that bar there, that display there is basically the only thing that tells you you're in a hybrid. So other than that, you have an instrument here, an instrument display here, or a display panel here, which is small. I guess again the top spec car probably has a bigger one with Apple CarPlay and all the rest of it. This one doesn't, but it does have pretty much what you need. So it does have Bluetooth and it has a stereo. It's basically the stereo system. Down there you've got your power supply, you've got USB, and you've got an aux. And actually, essentially, you've got 2 power supplies because you've got a lighter as well. You've got a little tray there, that's quite handy. There's only one USB in this car, so that's one of the downsides. A cup holder here, a secondary cup holder if you like there, or an ashtray instead if you want to use that. And this is interesting. This is a sort of a slot area here. Now if I open the cubby box, which again has got a power supply in there as well, is that, oh, that's a USB. Oh, my mistake, it actually has 2 USBs. So theoretically that USB could be fed to the rear passenger, so that's okay. So hey, points for Hyundai there. A reasonable sized cubby box, but this is interesting because what you get is a kind of slot here, and it's sort of like tablet sized. So that's very interesting that you can almost put a slot, a phone or a tablet in there. Very well thought out. Cloth seats on this car, decent sized glove box, and like I said, blue piping and stuff like that. Another interesting thing here, the door pocket is quite handy there, but this is the handle, and what they've done is they've contoured this bit here to actually act as a rest, in addition to doubling up as a door handle as well. So all pretty good. I think the next thing to do is to take it for a drive and see, does it feel like a hybrid or a regular Hyundai? Now, as we pull away in electric mode, quietly, although, yeah, there's still in electric mode. Actually, since we got a bit of a straight bit, let's put it into sports mode, because actually there's a big difference when you put it into sports mode. I've found the sports mode actually does make a difference, and even the acceleration, because it's kind of like there's a sort of restrained acceleration in normal mode, and again it's trying to save fuel, but put it into sports and it's sort of unleashed a little bit. So again, full petrol mode, obviously, nice solid gear changes, cool, with the dual clutch you can really feel it, and the acceleration is pretty decent. In fact, it feels perfectly normal, rather quick actually for a car of this type. Now here's the thing, depending on your point of view, this is either a pro or a con, and that relates to how this car overall feels in terms of the drive. And let's just push through this corner here. Now here's the other thing, I'll get to this in a minute, but let me just continue what I was just saying there. If you're one of those people who has a hybrid and wants to be constantly reminded that you've bought a hybrid and that you're being good to the environment and to your pocket, then this is probably not the car for you, because like as I've said before, apart from a couple of displays on the instrument panel, there's nothing in here to tell you, and apart from moving away in utter quietness as you do so on electric power only if there's enough juice in the battery, aside from those features, there's nothing to tell you that this is a hybrid. However, for those, and I think these secondary people constitute the vast majority of people out there, who basically are slightly maybe put off by the fact that, oh no, I'm driving a hybrid and everybody will know that I'm driving a hybrid. Of course, there's a badge on the back and there's these blue bits, but aside from that, it's going to have some weird bits inside and the gear lever's a bit different and stuff like that. For them, this car is perfect because it just feels like a normal car, And with the added advantage, like I said, of the aerodynamic efficiency, plus we're coming up to a corner now, and despite the low rolling resistance tires, obviously, that they normally have on these things, and I'm assuming that they have them, I'm not sure that they do, it's got 15-inch wheels, so good. Again, the ride is very good. The ride is actually very good on this car, very smooth, reasonably quiet, and the body control, again, as you can see, pretty decent. Bit of body lean, but not too much. You do get a bit of noise from the tires, so again, that's where the tires are compromised during cornering. But actually, it corners very well, and the understeer is very well controlled and managed, and really the grip is there. So it's not even an issue. And the other thing about it is, as we do that, is the low center of gravity, because obviously it's lightweight, but also because the batteries are down low, and then the back, it's actually, it has a little bit of a rear drive feel to it. It probably helps a little bit with the sort of pendulum effect of having more weight in the back. But being lower down, the grip is good, the handling is good, and the ride is pretty good. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying this is a sports saloon. It's not. It's definitely not a sports saloon. But it's not something that you'll feel a little bit, oh no, I've only got the slow hybrid, and oh, it's going to be a really dull and dreary drive. It's like, no, not at all. It's actually fine. And it goes pretty well, stops pretty well, and the steering just feels like a normal thing. These are the key selling points. I know it's really bizarre. It's really bizarre to be saying that this car feels like a normal car, but being that it's a hybrid, it's actually a little bit of a plus point. That it does. There's nothing to put you off. Basically, there's no reason for you not to buy this car if you're thinking, oh, but it's a hybrid. Because look at this. It accelerates. It corners. It sounds like a normal car. Look at this. Brake, turn in, grip. It's actually very good. And very linear and quite adjustable. I actually really like this car. I think it's fantastic. And I think that, okay, maybe it's a little bit on the pricier side. The only giveaway is, okay, if you're going to ask me for downsides, it doesn't feel as high quality as a Prius, let's be honest. But the Prius has had, generations to develop to what it is now. Considering that this is their first hybrid or dedicated hybrid from Hyundai, they've leaped over the initial stages, so they've gone straight to a decent level of evolution straight away, and really it's there or thereabouts, frankly, I would say. So really very impressed with this car. Aside from a few quality things, it's not the greatest of quality, but aside from that, you know what you're getting. It's practical, it's spacious, it's comfortable, it rides well, it performs well, it handles well, saves you a ton of money on fuel economy, and you're doing good to the environment as well. What's not to like? You tell me. Well, I hope you enjoyed our review of the Hyundai Ioniq. Do please let us know what you think of this car in the comments below. And do please check us out, motoringme.com, and you'll find us on all the social media. That's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and of course YouTube. And if you're watching this on YouTube, please do like, share, and subscribe. And tell all your friends. That would be great. You could also follow me, Shazad Sheikh, and I'll put my links up here or @ or whatever. Don't have to, but it'd be nice if you did. It'd be great to see you there. Thanks so much for watching. Until the next one.